Hello, YouTube community. How is everyone? It is Astro Coach Sarah here for your astrology update for the full moon in Capricorn, as well as some other energies that are happening. There's a lot happening in the cosmos, starting June 29th and through most of July into August. I mean, basically the rest of 2026. But for this video, we're going to get through that week, that June 29th, through July 5th. And will I be doing more videos? I don't know the answer to that right now. Let me feel into that. But let's get through this week. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of movement in the cosmos. For those of you who are new to my content, I am an astrologer. I'm also a personal development coach. So I view astrology through the lens of using it as a tool for personal development. If that is something that you would like to experience in a one-to-one reading, please feel free to click links below. I have my AstroGoals, which is a free session. It's actually a precursor to getting one-to-one coaching with me. I also have full chart readings, wellness chart readings, and the red alert. Holy shit, I'm experiencing something right now. What the fuck is going on in the cosmos? Sarah, help. Experience. So all of those links are below if you want an expanded version of this, as well as to experience working with other practitioners, such as yoga, meditation, and all sorts of other spiritual, metaphysical things. You can join me over on the Awakening Spirit Collective. My affiliate link, yes, I get a percentage, is below for you to do that. I do expanded forecasts on there. And yeah, so if you want more of this and more of talking with me and working with me, you want to book a reading or join the Awakening Spirit Collective, because I go deeper. Okay, so we have a lot going on. It's a lot. And in the middle of it, we have a full moon in Capricorn. Now, I feel like this Capricorn full moon is going to be significant in that the outer planets forming the Barbo basket at 4 degrees of Aries, Gemini, Leo, and Aquarius, that pretty much it sets up most of the month of July. So we're going to feel it starting the end of June, and well into July. But I feel like because many of the outer planets, minus Uranus, because I think Uranus was in Taurus at the time, but Jupiter and Pluto conjuncted in Capricorn. Jupiter and Saturn conjuncted at 0 Aquarius. Pluto and Saturn conjuncted at in Capricorn. I think it was 22 degrees. This was back all in 2020 and 2021. That was when a lot of people started getting into, I'm going to throw out some terms just because I think they'll resonate with people, but it's not, and then I'll explain. But like the Q thing, conspiracy theories, truther, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I consider myself a truther. I'm constantly seeking for information. When I notice something that makes me feel weird or off or something's not right or whatever, whatever. But that was when a lot of people found out about the e-files. And if you don't know about the e-files, it is the files of people who do nasty things to younger people. Um, and so I think there's something very significant about this full moon being in Capricorn. Granted, it's not on any of the degree points of the aforementioned conjunctions, but it's still in Capricorn. Pluto's not there. None of these other planets are there. And these other planets are in, like Pluto's in Aquarius. It's all about the people. Saturn and Neptune are in Aries. Like everyone's kind of disconnecting from the false idol bullshit, which is good. I do have something to say about a recent death that was happened in the music industry. Um, you have Uranus and Gemini, is shocking information, shocking things to your community, shocking things about everything, right? Jupiter is moving into Leo. Um, The interesting thing about planets moving into Leo, which we'll have Jupiter, we have Venus in Leo, we have Jupiter moving into Leo. Eventually, we will have Mars in Leo, and the South Node is moving into Leo. The interesting thing about that is most of the people who are in our geopolitical leadership right now are Pluto Leo generation folks. Um, South Node is kind of like stop giving that so much attention because North Node in Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius is about what do the people actually want? And I live in Illinois. I don't live in Chicago. I have lived in Chicago, but I've mostly lived in the rest of the state of Illinois. And most Illinoisans hate how the government works in Illinois because most of the state monies go to benefit Chicago, and the southern parts of Illinois, which are the most gorgeous parts, have literally been left in poverty, like destitute poverty, bad water, just horrific conditions in deep southern Illinois, close to the Kentucky-Missouri junction. Um, and I think it's important that we all notice what's going on with our state governments, local governments, whatnot. Um, but I say like Portland's the same way. Portland, Oregon's the same way. Portland has gone downhill so badly. I never went to Portland. I didn't get to go to Portland in all of my travels. Don't know if I'll ever get to, but I can tell you that Seattle was really weird. San Francisco was really weird. I've kind of been through LA, but not like in LA. I've just traveled through LA. Phoenix has gone downhill. So and Chicago is not the Chicago that I lived in. It is not. I was there in 2023. It is not the same Chicago. I would definitely not live there now. It is creepy. I do travel through Chicago, of course, but it's not the same city that it was when I lived there. And my point in all of that is that a lot of the leaders that are currently running these places have Pluto in Leo. I think that's very significant with the South Node coming into Leo. Um, for many of us, that's our parents' generation. Uh, if you're, Gen Xer. And I just think it's significant. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out from not only like people's personal worlds, but also geopolitically, government leadership speaking, how this might play out. So, if you know folks who are in their 60s, 70s, well, 80s, because my dad just turned 80, he's Pluto Leo, um, you know, they could face it's a dynamic energy because we're gonna have a lot of energy in Leo, and then you've got in Pluto in Aquarius the opposition. Anyway, I could go down rabbit holes on that, but my point is that with this transit that's happening throughout July, beginning with this full moon in Capricorn, where many of these planets met in 2020 and 2021, I do think there's going to be some significant changes. Now, in your personal life, this may or may not affect you, and there's a reason why. It may or may not affect you because you're not doing any work to support the transit. I do astrology from a personal development perspective. So I've been watching like Pluto in Aquarius has been in a T square with my rising sign and my natal Chiron. I have been working through my core wounds yet again, peeling back layers of my core wounds. Because not only do I study astrology, but I'm a coach. So I look at it from the perspective of personal development. Okay. So you may not notice it, and you may think this is complete bullshit because you're going to be put through the ringer on something that you didn't see coming. I can tell you that if you work with a coach like myself, I can work with you on how to move through what the bullshit, air quotes, is that you're moving through. You may not notice it because you don't have planets or points at 4 degrees of any sign, but you do have 4 degrees of every sign in your birth chart. You just may not have anything there, right? So let's just say you're a Cancer sun and your sun is at, I don't know, Cancer is a bad example because Mercury is going to be retrograde. Um, let's just say you have a lot of Virgo placements. That's actually a perfect example because a lot of Virgo placements, if you have hefty Virgo placements, you're going to be squared by the energy in Gemini, which is going to be Mars and Uranus. And that could create tension, that could create some upsetting, uh, whirlwind type experiences. Um, you may have something going on in Libra. You're going to be opposed by the Aries energy. You will also have trine from Gemini and Aquarius. So you may have tension between yourself and your community, who you're around, and depending on how that lands in your chart. So what I'm saying is that you may not notice it, but it is definitely going to be a game changer to the world stage. Okay, it happens all really quickly. Like Mars moves into Gemini on the 28th, and then Mercury stations retrograde at like noon on Monday. This is all Central Time. And then the full moon peaks at like 6 something Monday evening, right after Mercury stations retrograde. And then, like, literally 6 hours later, Jupiter moves into Leo. So that's within 36 hours. We have three, four planet movements. And on the heels of that, July 4th is the Mars Uranus conjunction in Gemini for the first time since like 1948. So 77 years, 78 years. So July 4th could be very loud. Could be very loud. Um, there's other astrologers who do mundane astrology who have really mapped it out. I highly recommend checking out Cam White. He did a really good video as to what he feels like could happen. There's other astrologers. You can just look up mundane astrology to really figure out what the geopolitical impact could be. What this could mean for you in your personal life is there could be a conversation during your 4th of July picnic that rocks your fucking world. And it could be good and it could be bad, but either way, it's probably going to scare the shit out of you because maybe you're going to get the opportunity that you've been waiting for, but you weren't nervous system ready for it. And that's the part that people miss. So anyway, there's a lot going on. I'm going to show you two charts. I'm going to show you the Capricorn full moon chart, and then we will talk about the Mars Uranus conjunction. And again, if you want to dive deeper on any of this, join the Awakening Spirit Collective. If you want to get personal, book a reading with me. We can walk through it because you're probably already noticing something feels like you're on the edge of either a cliff or the abyss or holy fuck, what's about to happen? So book a reading with me, and we can dive into that. Okay, hold on one sec. Okay, so here we're looking at this full moon in Capricorn at 8 degrees of Capricorn. It's going to peak on the 29th, which is Monday, at 6:56 p.m. Central Time. And so you, of course, have the moon opposite the sun. Um, and then it's at 8 degrees. It does loosely square your Saturn. It actually loosely squares both Saturn and Neptune. Um, Neptune's at 4, the moon's at 8. That's definitely a square to that Neptune and Aries. Um, Sun is squaring Neptune. I mean, these are both buildings, so sorry, I am like the worst drawer. Let me try that again. Let's do this. There we go. So we got a T square there. Um, it is also loosely squaring Saturn. But I feel like it's closer to the Neptune square, which could mean like so, and this, of course, this full moon peaks right after Mercury has stationed retrograde. And it could be like, and with Uranus and Gemini, um, and Mars has just moved into Gemini. Like, I feel like since Neptune has moved into Aries, people are very like dysmorphic, body dysmorphic. They're a little delusional in what they like, their expectations are delusional. I'm definitely noticing like the body dysmorphia with the boom of GLP-1s and other weight loss injectables and whatnot. No shade if you're on one. I just have really noticed that people are like going out of their way to get them. And I'm not saying that they don't help for people's health and whatnot, because I do, I understand that. But I think that almost anything, like people are, with Neptune being in Aries, Saturn being in Aries, I think people are desperate to be thin. They're desperate to control their body and um, all of those things. So um but that Capricorn energy has got me, because like what is like, we talk about astrology is not linear, right? So like, yeah, we had all those transits in Capricorn in 2020 and 2021, and I feel like they're kind of reverberating. Like it started at the beginning of this year when we had the personal planets in Capricorn, and I felt it then, and I'm feeling it now, like with this Capricorn full moon being like the beginning of this major transit with these outer planets throughout the month of July. I just really feel like there's a connection being built. And that Capricorn stellium that we experienced in 2020 really revealed so many people who, you can call them conspiracy theorists, you can call them truthers, you can call them Q. It doesn't really matter. The point is still the same. People thought that they were crazy because they thought that the government was overstepping on control, and they were. And I feel like that's a conversation that hasn't stopped, and it shouldn't stop. It shouldn't stop. Um, so I feel like there's going to be more something come like there's building up to something pertaining to those types of like authoritative energy. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn's in Aries. Saturn is in detriment in Aries. No, he's not. He's in fall in Aries. Same sort of thing, a little bit different energy. He's a fall in Aries, so he's not really strong here. Um, and it's also like the United States chart has like a ton of Cancer energy, and we have a lot of Cancer energy right now. It's almost like like your home. I have said this before, having been a nomad, like your home is your body, your physical body, your bones, your digestive system, your nervous system, your musculoskeletal system, your cardiovascular system, your skin, all of those things, your sensory system, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your skin, your extra senses, your hair can be sensory, things like that. Like people do not honor their body as a sensory um, mechanism to interpret the world, to intuitively guide them in the world. You don't notice the smell. You don't notice what you touch. You don't know, like people are so non-observant to their own senses, right? And then when people are observant to their senses or their emotional stimulations or whatever, we label them with something, right? Because they notice their senses. I notice my senses. I notice when I hear something that sounds off. I smell something that sounds off. Like I'm present to those things. I've literally had myself walk away from people because I can't stand their smell. And I don't think it's that I'm smelling them. I think I'm smelling their aura. Now people see colors around people, like seeing their aura. I think I smell people's aura. I literally think I do, because there are some people that I'm like, I can't be near you. There's something off with you. I can't put my like tell you what it is. I can just tell you that like my nose doesn't like it. Your ears may not like something. You hear a sound and you're like, oh, that's off, you know? And I'm not just talking about like the smoke detector or the fire alarm. I'm talking about you may hear something that just makes you cringe, and you're like, no, I can't be around that. So I feel like there is a strong energy about this that is you taking responsibility, you in general, like all of us taking responsibility for our body and the home that houses the soul, the home that houses the brain that you use to interact with the world, the home that houses your nervous system, the home that the home, the body that houses your cardiovascular system, the home, the body that houses your musculoskeletal system, your digestive system. Again, I could go through them again. I think you get the point. And I feel like there's something about this full moon that is about the structure and the foundation. You've got Neptune in Aries. There's a lot of delusion about the physical body, right? Um, you got Saturn in Aries, kind of making you, kind of giving us this sort of like restriction, or like getting responsible, getting disciplined about how you treat your body, right? Could this be about tasks and work and those sorts of things? Yeah, but I'm not saying that it's not, because it could be. I just feel like with the sun in Cancer, Mercury retrograde in Cancer, Jupiter is just about to leave Cancer. We also have Hygieia in Cancer. Hygieia is an asteroid. I don't often talk about asteroids, but there's a couple that I do track. Hygieia is one of them. Hygieia in Cancer is healing your body from the inside out, the waterways of your body, the fluid flow of your body, which could be lymphatic fluid, it could be sweat, it could be, isn't there like a neuro fluid that runs through the spine, cerebral spinal fluid, um, blood flow, those sorts of things to be attentive to. That's why I keep saying, like, move your body. You got to keep the lymphatic fluid moving. You got to keep the sweat moving. You got to keep the blood flowing, those sorts of things. So I feel like this full moon is really pointing us at, like, what are you doing to honor your body? Now, we're human. We all do human shit. Like, don't even try to lie. None of us is perfect. I'm not perfect. I eat junk food. I have my vices. They're very few, and therefore I don't get rid of them because I'm down to like one or two um vices. I've gotten rid of a lot. Um, but we're meant to experience the vices, the junk food. We're meant to experience those things and be attentive to when it's too much, right? Be attentive to when it's not digesting, when it's compromising your ability to move your body, when it's causing you to run to the bathroom to go, shit your brains out, when it's causing you not to have a proper bowel movement. Like, it's one thing to eat Oreos, it's a whole other if Oreos is making you constipated, right? That's just one example. It's one thing to enjoy a grilled bratwurst, it's a whole other if it causes you to run to the bathroom every time you eat one, right? That's one of those things that, like, you'd want to eat it once in a while because you love to eat a brat, but you probably don't want to make them a regular part of your diet because you will tear a hole in your bowels, right? Because you'll be shitting your brains out. Um, but this is what I mean. I feel like this is really like your foundation is your body, your home, your foundation, moon in Capricorn is your body, your home, sun in Cancer is your body, right? And we're delusional if we think we can ignore the physical body that holds our emotional, mental, soul bodies, right? Okay. Um, you can see the buildup to the basket happening. Neptune's at 4 degrees. We have Uranus at 3 degrees, almost to 4 degrees. We have Jupiter at 29 Cancer, about to move into Leo. Now, Jupiter doesn't join the party until later in July. So, but you can see the buildup to the Barbo basket happening. I'm telling you, if you're not if you're not prepared, this will really knock you on your ass very quickly. And again, you may not even notice it in your chart because you don't have anything at 4 degrees. You may just notice it in the world around you. So, um, let me get out of this chart. Let's go to, oops. Okay, so this is the chart for the Mars-Uranus conjunction. Let me crop it a little bit so you can get a little closer view. All right. And then turn on markup so I can draw because I like to draw even if I'm terrible at it. I don't care. Okay. So we had the full moon in Capricorn, June 29th. This is July 4th. This is Saturday. This is at 1:07 a.m. Central Time. So this actually could be July 3rd on the West Coast. But the energy of this is not going to be isolated. None of this energy is going to be isolated to this week. Okay. So just know that going in. But down here at the bottom, you got Mars at 3 degrees, 52 minutes, with Uranus at 3 degrees, 52 minutes. This is a Taurus rising. Ooh, no, it's not. It's an Aries rising. Ooh. Mars rules Aries. This is an Aries rising chart. Um, but it's a latter degree of Aries. Mars-Uranus conjunctions can be volatile. The last Mars-Uranus conjunction was in July of 25, 24. Was it 24? When did we have the last election? 24? I think it was July of 24. So it's every 2 years. That would make more sense because it's 2026. So July of 24 was the last Mars-Uranus conjunction. Now, that was the attempted assassination on the current president who was running for president at that time. Now, that being said, let's not forget about that because that Mars-Uranus conjunction was on a part of his chart, was on a part of Trump's chart. So those Mars-Uranus conjunctions did directly affect him because of where they landed in his birth chart. Okay. This is in Gemini. He does have a lot of Gemini. He is a Gemini. But I can't remember what degree his sun is, if I'm being honest. I haven't looked at his chart in a minute. But the United States also has Uranus and Mars in Gemini when our country was established in 1776. So there are some reverberations. Mars-Uranus conjunctions historically have triggered wars, namely the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and World War II. However, keep in mind, there's been other wars. There was a War of 1812, there was a Vietnam War, there was the Cold War, which had nothing to do with Uranus and Mars in Gemini. So, doesn't have to be a telltale sign. Uranus is disruptive. Uranus is shocking. Uranus is creating a revolution. So, theoretically, this could be the onset of a revolution. This could be when the people, Pluto and Aquarius, start demanding Uranus and Mars and Gemini that we start seeing some action on those e-files, that we start seeing some consequences, that we start seeing some shit happen and some shit change. Okay? That could be what this is. And who knows what's going to happen geopolitically. I have no idea. I'm not a mundane astrologer. What I will say is around July 4th, you may feel the urge because also we will have Mercury retrograde in Cancer, Sun in Cancer. You may feel like not going to a barbecue or a fireworks show. I've actually bailed on multiple 4th of July events. I don't like Cancer energy. For me, I'm not saying I don't like cancers. I have friends who are cancers. It's fine. I'm saying I don't like it for me. Similarly, I don't like Virgo for me. Those are two energies I struggle to work with. Cancer is too fucking emotional, and wishy-washy, and Virgo is too detail-oriented. I am none of those things. And I have no planets in Cancer. I do have Saturn and North Node in Virgo, so it actually pisses me off that I have Saturn in Virgo because it fucks with me. It makes me get disciplined about routines and shit, and I fucking hate it. Okay, I just want to live my life. Okay, but that's my chart. That's my story. You don't have to like every part of your chart, but I do know that I have to work with it, and I do. I just struggle. But anyway. I will say this, you may feel like not going to something. You may not feel like going out for fireworks. You may not feel like having a barbecue. You may not feel like it. You may feel rattled. You may feel jittery. You may feel unsteady, unsettled. You may feel digestive upset, depending on where this lands in your chart. You may feel like nervous, like, having like sweaty palms and things like that, like nervous energy around this Mars-Uranus conjunction. So just be try to do things to calm yourself. If you can get like chamomile or lavender tea, if you can get some essential oils that will calm you, put them on your feet, take a bath in some lavender, get some like bath salt. I did actually buy bath salt this week for myself. I've been using grounding oils. I have grounding stones. To make sure that I'm checking in on my own self and my own nervous system. Eat root vegetables, carrots, potatoes, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are actually very good for you nutritionally. So if you can get some sweet potatoes, particularly with the skins on them, chop them up, roast them in the oven, they're delicious. Salt, pepper, maybe a little spice, add them to some taco meat, get a meal. So do what you need to do to calm yourself down because this energy could be very rattling. And this is kind of the like almost like the initiation. If that Capricorn full moon didn't initiate something, this for sure will. This for sure will. Mars rules Aries, which is where Neptune and Saturn are. This energy is going to trine Pluto. Here, I'll even build the chain for you. Pluto's retrograde at 5 degrees of Aquarius. They're building that trine over there. Why didn't it draw? What the hell? Oh, there we go. Let's see if I can do it better. There we go. That's better. There's a sextile between them and Mars and Uranus and Neptune. Um, Pluto and Neptune have been in a sextile for like over a century. That's not a new sextile. That's been a thing that we've been dealing with for a long time, which is probably why no astrologer really talks about it. Um, and then Venus is in the latter degrees, and so Uranus is still loosely. Um, the nodes are at 0. Huh. So, but there's still a loose square between the nodes and Uranus. So once again, I feel like this is going to be one of those, like something's probably going to happen that day. Um, it's the thing I feel about this energy with not only this Mars Uranus conjunction is, yeah, something could be shocking, but like, as I feel with most astrology transits, like you kind of know something already. You already probably feel it already in your body that like, oh shit, something's gonna happen. Or you're like, oh, I've had issues with multiple people. Maybe I need to look in the mirror. Um, this job has been a problem for a long time. This living situation's been a problem for a long time. And like this could literally be the straw that breaks the camel's back on all of it, and you have to face the thing head on. Right. That's kind of how I see July. It's like we've all kind of been in complacency. Well, it's okay. Or you've tolerated it. It's okay. And July is Q throwing the Enterprise into the Delta Quadrant. July is Catherine Janeway choosing to go through the Delta Quadrant with her crew from the caretaker. Um, it's Marty McFly accidentally getting himself stuck back in 1955 and having to track down the 1955 Doc Brown. Um, it's that kind of thing. We're out of our complacency. We're not allowed to sit on it and tolerate it and put up with it and be okay with it anymore. And that is going to require all of us, each of us, to do something to change within ourselves. This is not something you can reach out to the other person. You can't reach out to the job. You have to look at yourself and be like, why am I so dissatisfied? Why does this relationship keep happening? Why does this story keep playing like a broken fucking record? It's because of you. And this is us having to take full responsibility for our actions, our words, how we are towards each other, how we are towards ourselves. If you talk to yourself like you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit because you believe that you are. Even if 500 people around you believe you're amazing, you believe you're a piece of shit. You don't understand why those people think you're so amazing because you're a piece of shit. You don't understand why people think of you the way that they do because you're not willing to see yourself the way others see you. That can go both ways. That can be negative or positive. You think you're amazing. You think you're trying to help people be better. But in reality, you're talking to them like a bully or a berating bastard or an asshole or a bitch. And people are ghosting you or walking away from you. And you're like, but why? What did I do? It's all in how we treat each other and how we treat ourselves. And on the grander scale, it's what are we supporting? Churches. What's going on in churches? Endless scandals of misuse of money, endless scandals of every type of crime imaginable. And yet people go to church and tithe. That's appalling to me. And you justify it because God's going to save them. It'll be okay. That just makes me angry. And it should make everybody angry. And I don't understand why it doesn't. An interesting thing I have heard multiple people say is that those who do nasty things with younger people is, I've heard this from prison guards, I've heard this from people who've known people who do those things, and they're like, you didn't never believed it. They were the nicest person. They are the nicest people who have the darkest sides. So that's just one aspect of this, which is the biggest in my opinion, is being attentive to um, what you're actually supporting. I've said it before about nonprofits too, that most nonprofits, you are not supporting what you think you are supporting. And I think that we are at a time and place right now where we cannot overlook that anymore and be like, oh, it's okay. I said earlier, hold on one second. I said earlier that I had something to say about a recent death in the music industry, and I think that it's very interesting that when that person, big name person, whose last name is Davis, passed away earlier this week, that people were celebrating it and ready to talk about just how bad he was. And I think this is partly why I don't support entertainment. I don't support pro sports. Give them bread and circuses and they'll always be distracted. Bread is beer because beer is made from the same ingredients as bread. Um, but people people wait for albums to drop. They wait for movies to drop. They wait for the next game. They celebrate their favorite team. And I'm not inherently wronging that, but what I am saying is y'all don't even realize what you're supporting. Most of your celebrities they're controlled. They're controlled by what music they can release. They're controlled by the messaging in their music. They're told what they're supposed to sing about. They're told what kind of movies to make. There's movies that have never been made because people like Chester and Chris were offed. There's literature that's never been released because people were offed. And you people that get into the entertainment industry, that get into the sports industry without thinking about the consequences of those who are participating in those industries. And do I appreciate sports? Yes. Do I like watching baseball? Yes. Do I appreciate music? Also, yes. Do I appreciate a good movie? Also, yes. But nobody finds it weird that some of our recent movies have like one big name actor, The Pit. I wanted to enjoy The Pit. Noah Wiley's in it. I was a huge fan of ER back in the day, still am. I still watch ER reruns. But I go to watch this Pit show, which is supposed to be like the newest, coolest medical drama. I don't know any of these people. I know Noah Wiley, like know him by name. I don't know him in person. You watch a movie, you might know like one actor by name. The rest of them are no names. Even the 911 show that I was watching with Angela Bassett. By the way, I didn't realize she's in her late 60s. Goddamn, she's a knockout. Um, she's beautiful. Like, serious. She's playing a fucking cop in her 40s. And she's like 60 something. Jeez, she's a knockout. But even that show, I recognized um Angela Bassett, of course. I didn't know who, I think his name was Peter Krause. Um, I did not know him. I don't know any of the rest of the actors. I guess that's not true. I think Jennifer Love Hewitt was in it. Was it Jennifer Love Hewitt? I think so. Um, but watch any show or movie and like you might know one or two people and the rest of them are no names. And anyway, I just think it's weird. I just think there's weird shit going on in the world. And I think that we all have a part in facing the weirdness in the world and acknowledging that we're the reason that that shit is, I said it before, like the reason that the rich are able to be the rich and control the world is because of the laborers, right? And that if all of the educators, the nurses, the doctors, the laborers, the truckers, if everybody were to stop working, there's nothing to maintain the rich people's world, right? It's the same with the music industry. If you stopped buying entertainment, stopped investing in it, stopped giving them views. It's the same with influencers. Stop giving them views. I have blocked influencers because I don't want to see their shit on my feed because they gross me out for one reason or another. I can't stand mukbang content. These people are literally eating themselves to death. It's disgusting. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch parents exploiting their children, especially their special needs children. If you're trying to educate, that's fine. But if you're making money, you're exploiting your child because there's no way your child can consent to being on the internet. I have blocked plenty of influencers. I do not want to see their content. I don't want to pay them by watching their video. So, this is what I'm talking about. We have a responsibility. Each of us has a responsibility. There's a lot of things we cannot control about how this goes. I have had two friends in the past 6 months try to report content on social platforms, and their reporting has been denied, even though the content was clearly inappropriate for the internet. I just I just think people need to wake the fuck up and realize that this world is not what you think it is. I get the nostalgic entertainment. I have it too. Y'all know I've been on the Walnut Grove cast a couple of times. I love going on that cast and talking about Little House on the Prairie. It doesn't mean that I am unaware of what's going on in with, the entertainment industry. So I get the nostalgia. I really do. I love all the Gen X content for nostalgia. But I think there has to be some kind of awareness that it's not just you entertaining your inner child. It's a matter of, are you actually aware of what you're supporting? See what we got in the tarot. This video has probably been way longer than I intended, but I think there was a lot to say. I think that There's still a lot to say. Um, the Hierophant in reverse. Divorce? Divorcing ourselves from the system? Breaking up, breaking our relationship with that system, seeing it for what it is and acting accordingly. Um, this is rebellion. And rebellion in this case is going against the system. People think I'm rebellious. I probably am. I am. I don't buy commercial cleaning products. There's a lot that I do, but I do eat junk food, so there's that. But I think, like, again, it's about creating awareness, and a lot of people don't want to see what's really going on in the world. They just want to like play in their nostalgic toy land. And again, I'm not against that. I'm saying like make your at least give yourself the opportunity to be aware of the fact of what's really fucking going on and then choose accordingly. We also got the ooh, 10 of Swords in reverse. Something new is coming. 10 of Swords in reverse is kind of positive. 10 of Swords upright is like the least positive card in the deck. With the 10 of Swords in reverse, it's like the swords are falling out. And the more you become aware of the world that which we live in, the more the swords are going to fall out of being in your back, right? The sword's gravity will do its job, right? This is a really potent, beautiful transit that we're working through right now. And it's going to feel difficult, but it's not. It's actually like I said, this is the Enterprise being thrown into the Delta Quadrant from Q. This is Janeway getting thrust into the Delta Quadrant from the Caretaker. This is it's forcing you out of your complacency. It's forcing you to grow. It's forcing you to address your shit. Um, so all that. All right, we got the sacral chakra oracle because I have been feeling the sacral chakra lately, probably because I've been reading Existential Kink and working through the existential kink, which is all about the sacral chakra, and pleasures and enjoying life and dopamine and what you get off on. It's been such a fun study. I've read it before, but I haven't really studied it. So this time I'm actually studying it and doing the assignments. So, all right, let's see. So I felt like the sacral chakra would be a good place to start to pick a card. Of course, this is one of those decks that's like the hardest one for me to read, and yet I love it. Okay, manifestation. Hmm. I think manifestation is one of the most overused concepts in metaphysics because everyone manifests differently depending on so many things, like your human design, your astrology, it depends on so many things. Thing about manifestation in this sense is that what is the pleasure of manifesting? What is the like, because people say they want to generate money, right? That's such an easy manifestation dream, right? You want to manifest money. But if your nervous system, if your body doesn't get red hot, juicy, tingly, over generating money, you don't give a fuck about money. There's something that you appreciate about not having money. If you want to manifest a best friend, if you want to manifest a partner, there is something that you love about being able to say that you don't have any friends and that you're single. Because I have manifested many pieces of furniture over the years that I didn't pay for. So I can manifest a table. I can manifest a couch. I've done it before. I'm gonna pick another one from that deck. Just because I think it's a fun deck to work with. Um, oh, there it is. Emotions. Mm. We have a lot of Cancer energy right now. Emotions. Um, People don't like to feel their emotions. People are shamed or guilted into not feeling their emotions. Their emotions are not valid. Their emotions are over the top. They're too much. They feel, they cry, they throw a tantrum, all of those things. And people are off put by that because that is not appropriate behavior for an adult human being. Bullshit. I have had multiple temper tantrums in the last 10 years of my life, and believe me, they have been wonderful. One of them was on the dance floor at an eclectic, um, what was it? Eclectic dance, eclectic something, exotic. I don't remember what it was. It was at a retreat that I went to, and I was just in the feels of the music and the beats and the rhythms, and I fell on the like sat on the floor. I started punching the floor. I started crying. I was just getting so much shit out of my system. We are taught that that is not acceptable behavior. Let me tell you something. The more I have experienced having absolute, allowing myself to have absolute tantrum sized meltdowns in a safe, productive space, because the dance place that I was at was within a treat, within a container, with a coach, with actually multiple coaches present. And therefore I was being watched, not in like they were stalking me kind of way, but in a supportive, like making sure I'm okay and not hurting myself kind of way. So like if I, flung my arms around, I wasn't gonna like bang at something, you know. Um, and I think that these types of things, I remember a graduate professor that I had, he used to go into the racquetball court and just throw the damn racquetball just to get out his shit. I know people who do that with like weighted bags and medicine balls to get your shit out. Stop acting like your emotions don't affect you, because they do. And we all need to feel them. We need to feel the pleasure of releasing our emotions. I think that's what this boils down to. This energy is a lot. There's going to be a lot going on in the world. There's going to be a lot going on with the e-files, and I'm here for that. But I think that part of what makes people feel so uncomfortable and uneasy about this energy is they're going to have to do things they are not willing to do, feel their feelings. They are going to have to take a look in the mirror and see what they're doing to fuck up their life, to keep their life held back. I'm right there with you. I am literally going through it myself. So, all right, I'm done. I hope this was helpful. I think this was a lot. I feel like it was scattered, but I always feel like it's scattered. I always feel like there's 900 things to talk about and I don't cover them all. And every time I hit stop, I think of 5 more things I should have said. But anyway, if you have questions, drop me a comment. If you want to book a reading, the links are below. All of the things. I'll talk to y'all next time. Take care.